LSU wins 41 to nothing. Yeah, 38 nothing. Sorry about that. Tulane loses 27-24. Tonight, Tulane goes to 3-1 on the season. Let's talk about the Tulane Green Wave first. I'm gonna be honest with you. That game absolutely stunk. It was a very piss poor performance by this team. I hate to say it, but they're gonna be playing Houston, and mark my words, Houston ain't gonna be a easy cakewalk like Kansas State was. That's not gonna happen. So you got to look at it both ways. Look, Tulane's 3-1. Sure, the season is not done. Once again, they have East Carolina, and the schedule's going to get a little bit tougher, but it is what it is when it comes down to it. So I say this: look, it wasn't a good game tonight. It was not a good game. It was just a really ugly performance. Michael Pratt, I'll be honest with you, he was getting popped every single time, making plays and stuff like that, but not getting out the pocket. The offensive line, that's another thing I'm going to tell you about this offensive line. Absolutely, it was just a laugher tonight. It was just an absolute laugher tonight. The offensive line, they had their moments blocking for the running backs, stuff like that. But the truth of the matter is, when they try to protect Pratt just got sacked tonight. So once again, your final score 27-24. We'll recap LSU in just a few moments. We are going to go over to the Tulane recap. So I'm going to put that up on the screen. So give me 1 second to put this up on the screen. Okay, final score 27-24. We'll look at the stats in this game. Stats are on the screen. Tulane had 451 yards, 7 missed at 251. Passing yards, Tulane 247. 7 missed 194. Rushing yards, Tulane had 204 yards. They should have won the game with 204 yards. First downs, they had 25 first downs to 13. They should have won this game. But to be honest with you, it was just an absolute stunk fest for this team. Okay, total plays, Tulane used 76. Southern Miss used 52 plays in the game. So turnovers was they have 1 turnover and 7 points off of those turnovers by Southern Miss. So Southern Miss got 7 off of those turnovers. They had 5 sacks tonight. They gave up. Tulane, Southern Miss gave up only 2.5 in the game, so that was unfortunate. Now, we're going to give you the drive summaries. I'm going to go ahead and give you those drive summaries. Okay, I'm going to give you the quarter stats. Let me do that. We'll go over to the comparison stats. We'll give you those numbers. Okay, the first quarter, I'm going to switch this over a little bit so you can see the first quarter stats. Okay, Tulane had 118 yards in the first quarter. They ran the ball for just 49 yards on 9 carries. They also had their time of possession was 732. Southern Miss 728. Now the next one, second quarter stats, we'll break them down for you. We'll switch that over. Tulane had 135 yards total in the first half, second quarter. They had 76 yards on 14 carries. They threw for only 59 yards in the game, but they only got sacked. There was 2 times, Tulane none. Now in the first half, total yards for Tulane was 253 to 108 in the ball game. Their time of possession was 16:31 to 13:29 for Southern Miss. Now the next one we're going to break down is the second half stats. I'll show you on the screen. Okay, 198 for Tulane, 145 for Southern Miss. They had 24 carries, 79 yards rushing in the second half. So they had a time possession of 19:30. So Tulane had the ball the most in the second half. Now we'll go over to the third quarter. We'll give you the third quarter numbers. I'm going to go over the third quarter numbers with you. Tulane at 105. They scored 7 points in the third quarter. Southern Miss. Total plays, Tulane used 19 total plays in the third quarter. 10 for Southern Miss. Time of possession, 11:31 for Tulane and 3:29. Now the next one is your fourth quarter stats. I'm going to give you those. I'm going to move this over once again, and I'll give you those fourth quarter stats. Okay, the fourth quarter stats, it was 10-7. Southern Miss had 75 yards on. They had 15 yards on 10 runs. Tulane had 6. Now third downs, they went 0 for 3. Tulane went 1 for 5. So they kind of was low consistent, not giving up those third downs on in the fourth quarter. Your time of possession in that fourth quarter, was 7:59 to 7:01. So 7:59 to 7:01. Now we'll give you the quarterback progressions. Okay, Michael Pratt, 19 of 29, 247, 1 interception. Zach Wiki, he had, let me scroll this over a little bit so you can see the screen. He had 17 of 25, 194. Quarterback rating 159.6 in his game. So that was in the game tonight. So let's give you some advanced stats. Okay, advanced stats. We'll give it to you. Okay, on first down plays, we'll go to the first down plays. I'm going to give you those. Tulane had 34 first down plays for 241. First downs for Southern Miss, 1 touchdown on first down conversions. Now on the advanced offensive stats, their leverage rating was 72 to 73 for Southern Miss. The passing downs, Southern Miss passed 27% and Tulane 28%. Now on big plays, Tulane had 16 big plays. Southern Miss had 7 big plays. Okay, run power rushing, Tulane had 6.7. No, 6 of 7, excuse me, and 1 of 5. So that was in the game tonight. So that's your advanced stats. Now we'll go over to your curriculum. So let's see what we'll give you. The okay, the red zone opportunities for both teams tonight. Red zone opportunities. Tulane had 10 points off for red zone efficiency. They went 2 of 3. Southern Miss went 2 for 2 in the game. So that was in the football game tonight. So final score 27-24. Okay, we will give you the score and play drives. Let's switch this over to your score and play drive, and we'll give you those score and play drives as we go. Okay, the score and play drives as Okay, Tulane went on a 7-play, 62-yard drive. Spears had an 8-yard run, made it 7-0. And then Spears came back on a 6-play, 87-yard drive. Took 3 minutes and 3 seconds. Tulane led 14-0. Brownie had a 23-yard catch from Wiki. That was 5 plays, 44 yards, made it 14-7. Then Southern Miss kicked the field goal on 4 plays and 6 yards. Took 2 minutes and 3 seconds. 14-10 was the score. And Escort had a 10-play, 64-yard drive, field goal. 17-10 was your score. Then Southern Miss came back and kicked a 26-yard field goal. That was on 7 plays and 49 yards. Took 2 minutes and 50 seconds off the clock. Then they had an interception return for a touchdown. That was a defensive play. And also, Jackson on a 25-yard reception for a touchdown. The PAT was good. That was 4 plays and 72 yards. So your final score, Tulane loses 27-24. Now the defense, I'm going to tell you, defense played good tonight, but they gave up 20 points. So once again, they're going to have to correct those mistakes, not giving up those points. That's going to matter in the long run. So let's give you running backs, and let's go ahead and give you running backs. Tajay Spears at 114 yards on 22 carries. Pratt 16 for 58 yards. He also had a pretty good carry right there. Stellestein had 5 carries for 22 yards. So that was just 3 backs that had some yards in the game. Spears had 5 catches for 74. Baldwin had 4 catches for 57. Jackson had 2 catches. Clayton had 2 catches. But Dougal had 2 catches. Deuce Watts had 1 catch. Celestine had 1 catch for 8 yards. Brown had 1 catch for 5 yards. Watts had 1. Wyatt had 1 catch for 3 yards, and that's it. Now Southern Miss quarterback. Let's go over to their numbers. I'm going to give you their numbers. Okay, their running backs, Frank Gore, 16 carries, 44 yards. So that was kind of a little stagnated when it comes down to it, but they did hold them to 44 yards rushing on 16 carries. They did. Now the quarterback, Winky, he had 17 of 25 for 194 yards. Also, the receivers in the game was Caston, Brownie, Gore had 8, 3, and 3. So that was in the game tonight. So your final score, 27-24, Tulane loses tonight. So we'll let you hear from Willie Fritz. Let me get the feed up. So we'll go ahead and get that up in a second and let you hear from Willie Fritz.
Clearfield. Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT. G-O-A-T.
We're waiting on Willie Fritz to come back on.
Of all time. As in spaghetti sandwiches for dinner. They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Ready for our little forest adventure?
So right now they're break. So once again, your final score, Tulane loses 27-24. So they will go over to Houston this Friday night. We'll probably have the game for you. we couldn't do it this week because we had 2 games to watch. So we will have the game next week, Friday night. So Tulane and Houston. Friday, we will have no high school football show Friday. We'll have the game for you on ESPN. So we'll come back. Okay, we'll give you some scores, score updates. Go ahead and give you a score update. We'll wait for the...
Just search College Football Blitz on the Varsity Network app. Welcome back to Yeoman Stadium as myself, Maddie Hudak, alongside Steve Barrios, continue to break down our post-game coverage as Tulane falls 3-1 this season with their 27-24 loss to the Southern Miss Golden Eagles. And with that, Steve, this loss was kind of by the numbers, and let's kind of break down those post-game stats.
Yeah, team stats, Tulane had 451 yards of total offense to Southern Miss 253. Passing, Tulane 247 to Southern Miss's 194. Rushing, Tulane 204 to Southern Miss's 59. Tulane was penalized twice for 20 yards, Southern Miss 5 times for 45 yards. Tulane was 6 of 16 on third down. Southern Miss was 3 of 12. And time of possession, Tulane had the ball 36 minutes and 1 second. Southern Miss 23 minutes, 59 seconds. And really, the difference in the game came down to the block punt, the block field goal, and the interception, that was returned for 6 points for the touchdown. But stat-wise, so slanted towards Tulane. It's you look at these stats and you figure, how did they lose the game?
Yeah, well, the individual stats might kind of tell the story there. So the leading rusher for Tulane was Tajay Spears, who had, 114 net yards on 22 carries with a long of 34 yards and 2 touchdowns. Michael Pratt threw for 247 yards in the air with 19 completions. He was sacked 4 times. It's when you look at the fact that Tajay Spears was also the leading receiver on the night with 5 receptions for 74 yards, and following him up was Alex Bauman at tight end, 4 catches for 57 yards, and considering his lack of experience, the leading tackler on the night was Dorian Williams. He had 8 total and 5 solo tackles, 2 tackles for loss. Macon Clark followed him up with 5 total, 3 unassisted, and 1 tackle for loss as well. Nick Anderson and Larry Brooks also rounded that out. On Southern Miss, they held Frank Gore Jr. to 44 net yards on 16 carries. Their quarterback, Zach Wilkie, had 194 yards in the air, 2 passing touchdowns on 17 completions. Their leading receiver, Jacarius Caston, he had 8 receptions on 91 yards, and that long touchdown that kind of changed the game there. And then their leading tackler was Santrell Latham, who had 9 total tackles. 5 of those were unassisted. Dalen Gill followed him up, 4 assists, 4 unassisted for 8 total tackles tonight. And those are your post-game stats, brought to you by Tulane Orthopedics. The leaders in orthopedic care in the Gulf South are ready to see you. Book your appointment online or call 504-988-5800. We're going to take one more quick break. We'll be back with your player of the game, brought to you by Boudreaux Jewelers. And we will continue our post-game coverage of Tulane's 27-24 loss to Southern Miss. This is Tulane football from Learfield.
Okay, once again, they're at a commercial break, so we'll give you a scoreboard update. I'll get my switch my screen. Okay, scoreboard update. College football going on across the country tonight, so we'll give you those updates as we go. So once again, in the fourth quarter, that Alabama wins 50-40. It's 55-3. Fourth quarter, Ohio State leading 45-14. Kansas State leading 27-20 against Oklahoma. Also, it is USC down 7-3. BYU down 3-0. Utah on top 6-0. Washington on top 7-0. Alabama wins 55-3 over Vanderbilt. Georgia wins 39-29. Michigan wins 37-34. Also, Clemson winning 51-46. Kentucky winning 31-23. Texas A&M winning 23-21. Florida losing 38-31. Also, North Carolina State winning 41-10. Also, Penn State winning 33-14. Oregon winning 44-41. And also Ole Miss winning 35-27. Baylor winning 31-14. Texas Tech winning 37-34. And Pittsburgh wins 45-24. And Miami loses 45-31 to Middle Tennessee. We will give you the other scores from the FBS side. So let me switch that over. Okay, the FBS scores. Okay, Northwestern and Miami, Ohio tied up at 14. Also, South Carolina on top 49-20. Florida Atlantic on top tied up down 28-26. Hawaii losing to New Mexico State 42-17. Florida State winning 44-17. ULM down 17-14. That's in the fourth quarter. 9 minutes and change in that one. And okay, what other games? Utah leading 7-0. Western Michigan and San Jose State no scoreless. Also, Washington leading 7-0. We'll get back to those scores in just a few minutes. We'll get back over to the Tulane
Tajay Spears again with a
post-game show.
And 2 rushing touchdowns. And he's our player of the game tonight, brought to you by Boudreaux Jewelers.
No doubt. No doubt he had a great game. And, you know, it's just ironic that this was the game that he tore his ACL and then in 2021 at Southern Miss. So he comes back, has a great game, and he deserves it.
Yeah, and again, I'd be remiss not to mention he was also the leading receiver tonight. So Tajay Spears is our player of the game, brought to you by Boudreaux Jewelers. Boudreaux Jewelers is your destination for the finest engagement ring designs by Tacori and Viraggio, and now showcasing Omega Switch watches. Experience these collections and more online at BoudreauxJewelers.com or at any of their 3 locations in Old Metairie, Mandeville, and Baton Rouge. Because a gift from Boudreaux's says it all. Well, with that, y'all, the Green Wave, unfortunately, their undefeated season is over. They're now 3-1 after they went down 27-24 to the Southern Miss Golden Eagles. So they will head to Houston, Texas next week for a bounce-back game. It'll be under the Friday Night Lights to kick off conference play against the Cougars. So that game time starts at 6 p.m. with our pregame coverage as usual. At 5 p.m., back on 104.1 The Spot next week, and that game will be broadcast on ESPN if you all want to sync us up. I'd be remiss to say, not to mention the fact that the student section was really a great crowd tonight. They were loud, and they actually stayed late, and they were a difference maker on some of those late drives. So we appreciate everyone coming out. We'll see you on the air next weekend. You're listening to Tulane Football from Learfield.
Okay, once again, Tulane postgame show ends. So concludes the Tulane postgame show. We will recap LSU. So I'm going to go ahead and switch out that, and we'll go over to LSU. Okay, final score, LSU wins 38-0 in tonight's ball game, 38-0. Your score final. Okay, we're going to give you the plays. So I'm going to give you some plays. We'll do that. Okay, the first, the scoring drives. Let's go ahead and give you those scoring drives as we go. Okay, scoring drives. For LSU had Amani Goodwin had a 5-yard run for a touchdown, 8 plays, 57 yards, 2:49 off the clock. They led 7-0. Also, Ramos kicked the field goal, 7 plays, 71 yards, made it 10-0. And then Goodwin had a 1-yard run, took 15 plays and 88 yards, 5:44 off the clock. And it was 17-0. And Kane had a 11-play, 80-yard drive. Took 5:44 off the clock. It was 24-0. That was a 1-yard touchdown run. Also, he had a 49-yard run as well. That was on 4 plays and 74 yards. The and 126 off the clock. Score was 31-0. Thomas had a 57-yard interception return for a touchdown. So it was so final score 38-0. LSU wins their game tonight. Let's go ahead and give you some stats. I'm going to go ahead and put some stats on the screens. Okay, LSU had 633 yards tonight, so that was the biggest number. LSU also had 219 rushing yards on the ground, and also passing. They had 414 yards. That was 33 of 39 in the game tonight. Also, time of possession in this one was, let's see, time possession. I gotta see where that time possession is, and we don't. I don't have it on the screen. Okay, the passing touchdowns, they have one. The drops, they only have one drop in the games, one drop. Also, first downs, 28 to 2 for New Mexico. Run and pass was 41 to 39 on the run to pass. Now, we'll go over to the okay, we'll go over to the first quarter stats. Okay, first quarter stats. LSU had 10 points. They ran for 100. They had 128 yards. Ran for 22 on 6 carries, and also they had 106 yards passing, 7 of 8 in the first quarter. They also had went 0 for 1 on third down conversions. New Mexico went 1 for 4. Total plays, LSU had 12 in the first, and 14, 14. 14 in the first. New Mexico had 12. Time of possession, LSU had the ball for 6 minutes. New Mexico had the ball for 9 minutes. Now we'll go over to the second quarter. LSU scored 7 points off those. Their total yards was 163 to 46. 163 to 46. Rushing yards was 45 on 13 carries. Also, passing to 11 of 13 for 118 yards. Also, they had 7 rushing, 7 first downs, 2 rushing, 2 passing. Now, the third down conversions in the second quarter was 67%. New Mexico was 0. Fourth down, LSU went 1 for 1. Also, total plays, LSU had 26 total plays in the second quarter. Their time of possession, LSU had the ball for about over 11 minutes. They also, New Mexico had the ball for, now we'll go over to the third quarter stats. Let's give you those third quarter numbers. I'm going to pull my phone over so you can see the third quarter stats. Okay, LSU had 14 points in the third quarter, 191 yards total, 11 carries, 98 yards. That was an average of 8.9, so they had over close to 100 yards in the third quarter. Also, they went 9 for 11 for 93 yards in the third quarter. Also, first downs, LSU had 8 first downs, 3 passing, 5 running, 3 on runs and 5 on passes. Also, LSU on third down went 0 for 2. That was in the game tonight. Also, they went 1 for 2. And total plays, LSU had 22 total plays in the third quarter to 9. And they only had given up 2 sacks in the game. Now, fourth quarter stats. We'll go over to the fourth quarter numbers. Okay, fourth quarter numbers. LSU had 151 yards total. Run yards, they had 54 on 11 carries. Also, LSU was 6 for 7 in their game. So that was 6 for 7. Passing the football in the fourth quarter. Also, third downs, it went 3 for 3. And total plays, LSU had 18 total plays to 6 from New Mexico. Time of possession, LSU had the ball for 10 minutes and 8 seconds. And New Mexico, 4 minutes and 52 seconds. The total time of possession, LSU had the ball for 37 minutes and 10 seconds. And New Mexico with 22 minutes and 50 seconds. That was in the, now we're going to go to quarterback progressions. And I'm going to look at Jaden Daniels' numbers. Jaden Daniels, 24-29 for 279, no scores. The quarterback rating was 163.6. And also Nussmeier was in there as well. Let's see what Nussmeier had. Okay, Nussmeier, 9 of 10, 1 touchdown, 135 yards. He also had a quarterback rating of 236. Made some pretty good completions on 2nd and 5, 2nd and 8, also 2nd and 7, and then he made a nice completion on 3rd and 4. So that was in the ball game. So that's your quarterback progressions, and we'll give you the rushing numbers. Okay, let's give you the rushers tonight. The main rushers was Neighbors with 65 yards. Beck with 43 on 6. No, these are the wide receiver numbers. Sorry about that. Wide receiver numbers. Neighbors with 6 catches. Beck with 6. Jenkins with 5. Lacey with 4. Taylor with 4. Thomas with 3. Williams with 2. Hilton with 1. Taylor with 1. Goodwin with 1. Now the running backs, Kane had 11 carries, 94 yards. Embry had 9 carries for 45 yards. And Jaden Daniels had 9 carries for 37 yards. That was in. And Goodwin had 8 carries for 24 yards. And Williams had 4 carries for 19 yards in the game tonight for the LSU Tigers. So final score tonight, LSU wins 38-0. Let's see if we have any press conferences. If we have a press conference, we will go to it. So we'll see if we have a press conference for LSU. So we'll give you. They have a press conference. We're waiting on the press conference to let's see if we got an LSU press conference. I don't know if we have one. So I think we won't have. Well, I think we'll pass. Okay, we'll sign off for the night. Okay, let's go ahead and sign off. Okay, once again, this concludes the LSU and Tulane post-game shows. Sorry we didn't have the coaches' press conferences. So once again, we'll be back tomorrow for Saints football as they take on the Carolina Panthers. I will have the game tomorrow. Definitely, we will be on tomorrow as well. So we will broadcast tomorrow. Next week we will broadcast Tulane and Houston and LSU next week. So we will be doing those broadcasts tonight. We couldn't do the broadcast because we had both games to watch. So I will be back on next week with the broadcast. So once again, everybody have a good rest of your Saturday night. And we will see you again tomorrow for Saints versus Carolina Panthers.